Trial attorney Brian Buckmeyer and former NYPD Chief of Detectives Bob Boyce joining me now. So, Brian, we are now learning that the Georgia Bureau of Investigation has charged 14-year-old Colt Gray with 4 counts of felony murder. He's being tried as an adult. Let's talk about what this means for his future now.
Yeah, so the easiest thing to do, Kira, is just break down what it means to be charged with felony murder. Felony murder is when someone kills another while during the commission of a felony without intent. So you're not hearing that murder, which often has premeditation, or some states refer to it as malice of forethought. What that tells me is that it's clear that a felony had occurred. We don't know which one exactly at this point, whether it be the possession of the firearm because he can't legally possess it based on his age, or that he entered a school for the purpose of committing these murders. But this gives them, being the prosecution, a bit of time. They get to put forward these charges. They're going to hold him based on that, and then the investigation will go deeper to looking at motive to see whether or not this is a murder or what degree of murder. When it comes to the actual penalty that he could be facing, while he is 14 years old, he's being tried as an adult, so he could face the possibility of life without the possibility of parole. And Georgia does have the death penalty, but because of his age, he'll likely have what's called a Miller hearing to see whether or not this is an individual who can face the most severe forms of punishment for murder.
Wow. All right. Well, Bob, we still don't know a motive and how Colt Gray actually got his hands on this gun in the first place. What's the timeline here, and what are investigators looking at to try and get these answers?
So, Kara, if you look back at the 2023 statements he made on Discord, which is a public platform, you take those and you also put together the ones, anything they found in his house on a search warrant, you may be able to determine motive from there. What were his statements? What was he saying? And then you can go forward with that. So that's what we're looking at right now. I would say the AR-15 would have to come from the home. I can't see a 14-year-old being able to buy one of those, but I don't know that for sure. But that opens a whole different thing about the culpability of the father or the mother and what access did he have at that time. So lots going on here. We're going to find out in the next couple of days. But I think the motive might come out from those statements he made on the social platform.
And I want to follow up with that, Bob, because the sheriff's report states that Discord users are actually the ones that tipped off the FBI about Gray and these threats that he made to shoot up a school. So how difficult is it for law enforcement to decipher, like, what's a real threat and what's not? And is it common for law enforcement to be following a site like Discord, which, by the way, is a huge problem among teenagers right now? We've already had to have the discussion about Discord with our teenagers.
Yeah, it's 500 million users, international. So some of those complaints came from abroad, also from California, from the States. And it also had pictures in it of firearms, which I find crucial. If you take those pictures, did he pull them down from a social media platform or whatever, or were they the ones that his father had? Key stuff here to determine. So those statements about shooting up a school that we're hearing that came up, he denied initially. Now, further drill down to look at that, there goes the motive right there, as well as what they found inside the house. We're hearing they found things inside his room, also indicative of police shootings, I'm sorry, school shootings.
So, Brian, how unusual is it to see a 14-year-old charged as an adult like this?
So I couldn't find the exact numbers, whether it be from Georgia or nationally, but I can give you some anecdotal information as someone who was a public defender here in New York, the Legal Aid Society, the largest and oldest public defender office in the country for just shy of a decade. And when you combine the different factors, the age of the defendant or the suspect in this case, 14 years, and then the severity of the crime, not just a murder charge, but 4 felony murder charges, it creates a very small number for how many times we've seen this. But when it comes to being charged as an adult for Georgia, depending on the level of crime, and murder and felony murder are one of them, that makes a 14-year-old eligible for the possibility of being charged as an adult.
Got it. All right, Bob Boyce, Brian Buckmeyer, thank you both.